and I have taken the liberty of designating myself as your anytime piano teacher friend. I love to think about the human condition and how that shows up in the music studio. You too? Oh, good. Let's link arms together and move beyond the status quo so we can build valuable musical experiences that impact our students for a lifetime. Sound like a plan? Excellent. Let's get on with the show. Today's episode is full of fun stuff, you guys. I've got the actual episode, then I have a big announcement for you, and I also have a great Teacher Friend of the Week story for you. Suffice to say, I'm happy to be in your ears today, and I'm ready to get this party started. Recital season is looming ahead for many of us music teachers. So before we go any further, I just have to say, if you are a teacher who is not having any kind of performance event this spring, that is perfectly fine. We all seem to have these moments where we feel less than because we think we're supposed to be doing something that we're not doing. So don't let recitals be that way for you, okay? Yes, I love recitals. They provide tangible evidence that I am doing good work. They make my families happy. They make me look good. They make me feel good. But if that is not your experience, or the many headaches they cause leading up to the event are not worth it to you, that is totally, completely fine. No one is going to come take away your piano teacher license if you don't have a spring recital. But since many of us do have them on the calendar, I wanted to talk today about criteria I have when it comes to choosing recital pieces. It should come as no surprise to you that I dabble in a lot of music when I teach. I love buying new music and supporting composers and publishers in the process. I love teaching a variety of pieces. It challenges me and it challenges my students. It also allows me to hold performances where students play a wide variety of music from a wide variety of composers. So here's the second disclaimer of the day, friends. If you only teach method book pieces, and if your recital is only comprised of method book pieces, guess what? That's fine too. If all of your students are beginners and you don't have a lot of wiggle room in your variety in your program, that is also fine. I'm still confident this episode will benefit you. Are you getting the idea here that there are no rules when it comes to recitals? You can literally do anything you want. It's your show. That's both the beauty and the overwhelm of the whole thing. Anyway, since I am committed to teaching such a wide variety of music throughout the year, I find it helpful to point out that not every piece of music is a great recital choice. Your criteria may vary from mine, but since I'm the one on the mic today, I guess we'll start with my ideas. In no particular order, I've come up with a list of 7 things that I think make a great recital piece. Are you ready? Let's go for it. Number 1, the student has to want to play it. Especially with spring recitals, guys. Things are too crazy. Kids and their teachers are too over it to have it any other way. My rule is that students are allowed to choose anything we've studied this year to play in the recital. I do tell them that I reserve the right to veto their choice, but that almost never happens. Students essentially get to choose what they want to play. Now, does that mean I'm completely removed from the process? No way. I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but we have friends whose daughter, many, many years ago, got it in her head that she wanted a purple robot for Christmas. They looked high and low for a purple robot, and they could not find one. On Christmas morning, she was crushed because there was no purple robot under the tree. And they told us this story when our first daughter was born because they said there's an art to helping your kids choose what they want for Christmas. You can often strategically steer their attention to the right kinds of requests. In other words, the ones you are actually willing or able to purchase, right? Well, I see recital music as the same thing. Throughout the year, if I think a particular piece would be a good recital choice, I will mention it. And once we hit February or so, I start dropping hints and steering the conversation towards the pieces that I think are going to showcase my student in the best light. That way, if I get the feeling that we are on drastically different pages, I can be proactive in introducing a good compromise or adjusting my own feelings or expectations. So, criteria number 1 is that students have to want to play their recital piece or pieces. Number 2, recital selections should encompass a variety of styles. No one wants to sit through 25 toccatas in a row, friends. Nor do they want to listen to 25 lyrical ballads. The excitement, the beauty of each individual piece is going to get lost if it's too similar to everything else around it. So, when it comes to helping my students steer their repertoire choices, I also keep a bird's eye view on the big picture so I can help ensure we have a nice variety of style, tempo, energy, etc. For number 3, this is absolutely related to number 2, I like to make sure my program has a variety of keys and tonalities represented. This is newer to my list of recital criteria, but it's a big one. Last year, I was really pleased with my students' selections, but as the recital was happening, I couldn't help but notice that there were way too many students in a row playing in C major or C minor. Now, obviously, the majority of the audience couldn't say they noticed the same thing, but I do believe the pieces all began to feel a little homogeneous for my liking. I decided to make sure that I was more aware of the keys my students were playing in as I was building the recital program this year to avoid too much of any single key. All right, number 4. This is an important one, friends. Recital pieces shouldn't be too long. Now, this is tough in a lot of cases. You have students who work hard to prepare an entire multi-movement work, or even a single sonata movement. And of course, we want them to show it off. I just think it's worth remembering that for the majority of us with larger studios, longer pieces should be the exception, not the rule. I will remind you of this, which I have said many times here on the podcast before. I am stubbornly committed to not splitting my recital up into more than one group. We're a family over here, and I can't stand the thought of breaking us up for the big spring recital. But to balance that, I am also obsessed with efficiency during my recital. We start right on time, and we transition quickly between performers like a well-oiled machine. Like, we have this down. I typically have somewhere around 32 students who are playing in the spring recital, give or take. Most of my adult students do not want anything to do with playing in the recital, and that's fine. The trade-off of having 32 students play in the same event, when I aim to have it wrapped up in just over an hour, is that each student typically just plays one piece. Do I love that? No. But is it okay? Yeah. In fact, it keeps the variety changing quickly, and families do seem to appreciate that. I say all of this to illustrate why I make sure recital pieces are not overly long. If a student is torn between two pieces, I will almost always vote for the shorter one. I actually think this is a great opportunity because I remember choosing repertoire for my degree recitals, and it was always the opposite kind of situation. Like, you don't want to choose a piece that is going to cost you hundreds of practice hours to just end up filling 45 seconds of performance time. And there are plenty of pieces out there that do just that. Instead, you want those hundreds of practice hours to translate into longer pieces on your recital program. Well, on the flip side, in student recitals, the opposite is true. Bring on the 45-second pieces. Woohoo! Number 5, good recital pieces often sound harder than they are. Can I get an amen on that one? Now, we all know there are pieces out there that do not sound nearly as difficult as they actually are. It's hard to make what we do look easy, right? That is the mark of a fine pianist that those of us professionals can really appreciate. A general studio recital audience, though, they want to hear things that sound hard. In piano world, that translates to things like hand crossing. Isn't everyone wowed when one hand crosses over the other, even though it's not actually that difficult to do? Anything that moves back and forth between the hands quickly or involves a big arpeggio or a big scale, audiences love that. That's why great studio recital pieces are often heavily patterned. They end up sounding much more difficult than they actually are. Some piano teachers even use the term ESH to describe those kinds of pieces. Easy sounds hard, ESH. Number 6, somewhat related and a bit of a soapbox on my behalf, a great recital piece is not necessarily the hardest thing you can play. I am on a mission to normalize playing pieces that are easier than we can manage. This is something that still trips me up, friends. I get embarrassed playing anything that I don't consider to be a monster piece in public. Why? I don't even know. It's just deeply conditioned into me that I should be performing the hardest thing I can play. But guess what? When you're performing something at the brink of your abilities, it is much more likely that it's not going to go very well. So, even if your student bit off a big piece of repertoire this year, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the best choice for them to play in the spring recital. They are much better off playing something that meets some of our previous points. You know, something they want to play, something that sounds harder than it actually is, something that stands out as unique in style, etc. Repeat after me. It's okay to perform something that feels easy. Number 7, when programming my recital, I make use of duets and other ensemble opportunities as much as possible. I used to have this hang-up that I wanted my students on stage alone for at least one piece. I don't know where that came from, but life is better now that I've let that go. Playing with the teacher duet or a peer-to-peer duet is so much more engaging for the audience, and in a lot of cases, it eases the students' nerves as well. Utilize ensembles anytime you can. They really break up the monotony of solo performances better than anything else you can dream up. Whew, okay, there you have it, friends. My list of 7 criteria for choosing great recital pieces. I'll recap them for you now. Number 1, the student has to want to play it. Number 2, recital selections should encompass a variety of styles. Number 3, your recital program should have a variety of keys and tonalities. Number 4, recital pieces should not be too long. Number 5, good recital pieces often sound harder than they are. Number 6, a great recital piece is not necessarily the hardest thing you can play. And number 7, make use of duets and other ensemble opportunities as much as possible. Now, here's the really exciting part, guys. This has all been top of mind for me because I've been putting together a little something for you. Hot off the presses, I have put together the 2025 Beyond Measure Piano Recital Guide. The 2025 Recital Guide is a resource I've designed to help you get to know some of the tried and true repertoire that I have used in my recitals year after year. Many of you look to me for advice in choosing supplemental piano repertoire. That's a lot of what we talk about in the Super Friends community, and I meet with a lot of you one-on-one in teacher consultations to talk specifically about repertoire. But if you are looking for an easier commitment than any of those things, the 2025 Recital Guide is perfect for you. Those of you who do primarily teach method book pieces and who do wish you could learn more about what's out there, the 2025 Recital Guide is for you. And for right now, it's only $12. This was hard, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I chose 5 pieces, just 5, in 7 different levels of piano study. So we're talking pre-reading, early elementary, mid-elementary, late elementary, early intermediate, mid-intermediate, and late intermediate. I could have chosen so many more pieces, but then the point of the guide would get sidetracked. I'm trying to help you narrow your decisions here, so I stuck with 5 for each level. These are all supplemental pedagogical works, no historical literature, no movie themes or pop arrangements, no method book pieces or series were used. I tried to stay away from the most widely recommended pieces because I really want to help you find new stuff. These are tried and true pieces that legit show up on my recital programs year after year after year. I give you a list of all 35 pieces, links to purchase, a description of each piece written by me, and additional links to listen, etc. Lots of things. I do have plans to drop in some additional video content with this resource, and I will raise the price accordingly once I do that. But if you want to grab the 2025 guide for just $12 and then get the bonus material for free once it's ready, you can head to christinawhitlock.com/2025. That's christinawhitlock.com/2025. I will also put that link in the show notes for today, of course. Now, let it be known, these recommendations are all my own. I could have worked out deals with composers and publishers and made this a lot more financially beneficial on my end, but if you haven't figured it out by now, I don't like to monetize my recommendations. I will collect money off affiliate links when you click on some of the links in the resource, but other than that, these suggestions are entirely my own and not being steered by anyone else. So, friends, hand crossovers, big arpeggios, patterns, variety of styles and keys, pieces that students love to play. I've got you, friend. I've got you. Go to christinawhitlock.com/2025 and grab your copy of the recital guide while it's still $12. P.S. Even if I'm too late to help you with your recital selections for this year, this list serves as an excellent introduction to the supplemental piano repertoire. Okay, friends, that's the big announcement I had for you today. So let's toast our way out of here and then talk about our teacher friend of the week. It's a good one. So find the nearest glass and raise it with me now. Studio teacher friends from all over the world. Oh, I'm just so happy to announce the 2025 Recital Guide. Not only because I've been working so hard on it, but because I know there are many of you out there who want to teach music your students get excited about. Life is too short and the piano rep is too big to play boring music, friends. So, from the itty-bitty pre-readers to the late intermediate big shots, I've got your back. And because I don't want this to be all about me, let's toast to you for all the thoughts you carry around in your brain about your students and their music and their experience in your studio. High fives to all of us who genuinely want to create the best musical environment for our students. We're doing good work, friends. Cheers to us. Hear, hear. Okay, Teacher Friend of the Week time. This week's TFOTW is Sarah Roth. Sarah Roth! Oh, I love this teacher. First of all, Sarah is a violin teacher. She's been part of the Super Friends community, she's a consult client, and she never ceases to inspire me with her ideas. There have been so many. I'm naming her Teacher Friend of the Week this week because of a conversation we had last year about recitals. Sarah mentioned wanting to build in sort of a pre-recital routine, like I've mentioned in previous podcast episodes. Many years, my students and I will improvise together in those 30 minutes that lead up to the recital start time. It gets them used to the piano, it breaks the ice, and it allows those who love improvising to show off for the audience while they're getting seated. This pre-show of sorts has become something many families look forward to. Well, Sarah Roth, being a violin teacher, couldn't quite run the same kind of improv activities I do, but she came up with something that I just love. Sarah decided to meet with her students early before the recital and play through certain selections from Suzuki Book 1. Now, if you know anything about Suzuki teaching, those students would all already know those pieces from Book 1. So Sarah decided to host a pre-show warm-up session where they played through those pieces together. I am still obsessed with this idea because it would be sentimental and so sweet for the parents who were in attendance, and it's a great way to really check intonation and make sure you are really truly warmed up. It's also just an easy on-ramp to performance because most of Sarah's students can probably play those pieces in their sleep. Anyway, that's kind of a long story, I know, but I had to share Sarah's brilliance with you today. Sarah Roth, congratulations on being Teacher Friend of the Week. And that's a wrap on episode 208, onward and upward toward recital preparations, spring break relaxation, or whatever else you have planned for your week. Let's make it a good one.